Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Welcome to a very special edition of the John Krasinski Show. We're joined today by Steve Terry, who's already shaking his head. We'll embarrass him about 18 times during this show. We love having Steve on, the informed, intelligent fan perspective to add to John's expertise on the Timberwolves. This, of course, is part of TalkNorth.com. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We also are presented to you by Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood. We also want to welcome Great Clips. Great to have Great Clips aboard with our other great sponsors. Of course, Steve was our first great sponsor. He's one of the reasons we exist today. And the cool thing about Steve, too, is, as you know from watching all the commercials, he's around the Wolves a lot. He has connections, so he can offer some insights as well as John. So let's get to it, gentlemen. Timberwolves against Nuggets. I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, which you will do often during the show, I feel like this is a really different kind of postseason for the Timberwolves. I feel like there's some impending doom attached to this one, where the other ones, it felt like, hey, it's all just gravy. It's great stuff. This team is on the rise. This is the first time I've been around this team in this decade where I felt like, could things possibly be moving backwards here?
So it's John's show, but let me just say Wolves and 4. Wolves and 4, and we just move on. We don't even need to talk about. No, I'm just kidding.
That was very
but yeah, it's been a weird
strategic move. Now everything John and I sound is going to sound incredibly negative, but we're okay with that.
Yeah, no, it does. It feels entirely different going into this one, and I do think like the parameters of the entry into postseason are just markedly different. 2 years ago, it was a team that sort of came out of nowhere. You had this unexpected success. They're wire to wire, right? Having just a really good season most of the way. And there is nothing better as a fan than having that season of unexpected success where you don't see it coming. You're just happy all of the time. You can't believe that this is all going on. But the price you pay for that is the expectations come after that. And so even last year, though, guys, it was different, it felt like, because there was a ton of angst early in the season after the Cat trade. What's Julius Randle doing? What the heck is going on here? But then they're going into the playoffs 17-4 down the stretch. Things were coming together, and you were saying, okay, you at least see the outlines of a team that can be successful in the first round. There were still a lot of doubts and worry about the Lakers and were they going to be able to get over that hump and what was Randall going to do in the playoffs. But there was at least some optimism surrounding how they were playing at the moment. This season has been, the expectations have been even higher, and we have not seen this group put together a real sustained run of success that I think would get fans super optimistic. They've had really good wins here and there, but the longest winning streak was 5 games. They've just kind of been stopping and starting and stopping and starting. And so now they're playing a Denver team that's won 12 in a row, and it feels a lot more maybe like that first Phoenix series where the Suns had swept them in the regular season, and there was just a lot of dread about, man, how is this really going to go? So I feel a whole lot of difference in the fan base. Steve, you are one of the main fans, so like, tell me if I'm off base or not.
Yeah, no, it's been a weird year, and that's not like the most descriptive, sorry, but it seems like there's never been the momentum. You had kind of mentioned, I think, we've never won more than 5 in a row. And even last year, it started off really slow. but then it was building. But towards the end, I mean, they went on a great run. And that just doesn't seem to happen here. And it could be injury. You know, we've had, you know, the knee gates, you know, I don't know what's going on with everyone's knees. And it's just like, it's been weird. I think also, this is just blasphemous to even say, but as Wolves fans, we've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. And so not that you expect that, but it is very different than can we make the playoffs? Like that should not be a question anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then the problem becomes, if we're used to that success and you kind of, in the history of the NBA, you see linear growth. You see the younger teams, they kind of butt their heads, you know, like, again, you know, Pistons versus Celtics, you know, or whatever, you know, Celtics versus Lakers. It's always like kind of you hit and then you break through. We should be breaking through and it feels like we're going in reverse. So it's just, it's a weird, like, it's not linear. You keep expecting it to like, no, we should now be a 1 or 2 seed, not a 6 seed. And so it just, the vibe is off. And I don't know, you know, this is not a Jake Vernon, you know, SmackDown, but I heard attendance is down. I don't know if this is true or not. It seems like the vibe is different. I don't know. It's just hard to really put your finger on it, but.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And when you look at, you know, not only this, they have the exact same record as last year, 49 wins. And so you look and you wanted to see this team take a leap. And what I think the Timberwolves said themselves, and what I truly believed at the start of the season was, here's a team that has been through the battles of the last 2 seasons. They have the continuity of same coaching staff, much of the same roster. And, you know, Naz Reid got paid, Julius Randle got paid. And so you're looking at, there should be kind of relative harmony with the contracts. And I think we all expected them to take a step forward. And there's 2 sort of concerning or themes that jumped out. One is, not only did they not take a leap forward, but there were teams in the West that got a lot better. I mean, Oklahoma City had another great year. San Antonio has jumped up. The Lakers, before their injuries, were looking like they were vastly improved. Houston was better. And so while the Wolves seemed to be stuck in one place, a lot of other teams were surpassing them, improving and doing all that. But the second thing that was, I think, the harder thing for me to sort of process throughout the season is that all of these guys, it was clear that at least to me, it was clear that it's not a lack of talent on this team. It is a lack of buy-in to the regular season. And you want to see a team that got beat 4-1 in the last 2 conference finals to come and play with an edge in the regular season. And instead, they've played with a complacency of like, this is no big deal. We'll just we'll flip the switch when the playoffs begin. Just get us there, get us through this. And so that sort of lack of intensity, I think, has made it harder to believe that they have another deep run in them, because we just have not seen them sustain that kind of playoff edge that you need. And you'd want to see this team trying to play with a chip on its shoulder, saying like, hey, we were embarrassed last year, so it's time to really put our foot on the gas. And they didn't do that. They were kind of more like, hey, we're going to save all our bullets for the playoffs. And when that comes around, now you're going to see the best of us. And that very well may happen. I think it's entirely possible that it does happen. I would not be surprised at all to see them win this series. But if they do, it will be with a completely different attitude and execution than we saw in the regular season. And that's the hard part of trying to envision it.
They talk about like, oh, you know, is the switch going to flip? And well, it needs to. And I know, John, you're not into ripping people. Jim does more of that. But I mean, the lack of intensity, like, who's to blame? I mean, you know.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a great question. And I would say, like, it does start with your top guys. You know, Anthony Edwards doesn't try as hard defensively in the regular season. Like, it just has not happened yet. Julius Randle goes through kind of ups and downs in terms of his ability to be locked in and doing everything that they need him to do. And, Rudy Gobert is sort of much more volatile as a player, not in terms of his focus and his attention, but just in terms of his ability to be effective offensively. And so when your main dudes, kind of will have an approach in the regular season of, you know what, we're not going to sweat this. It's going to be fine. It is hard for the rest of the team sometimes to follow or to change that up and bring that different energy. I think Bones Highland has tried to do it. I think Kyle Anderson is trying to do it.
Rudy. Rudy's had some words that are coming out of
Yes.
the meetings where you're like, ooh, that usually is behind closed doors.
Yep. So there's been some frustration there. You have Mike Conley. And so they're trying to do it, but really ultimately your best guys have to set the tone. And Ant was incredible offensively all season long. Just an unbelievable season for him that way, and in unveiling new elements of his game and being great in clutch situations. But the thing that makes him a superhero is when he decides that he's not just playing offense, he's playing defense. And so I actually expect that game 1 in Denver, you're going to see a completely locked in Anthony Edwards on both sides of the ball. And then when that happens, the entire team follows suit. And so that's their main hope. But yeah, I think during the regular season, the malaise kind of was generated by the biggest checks in the room, kind of just taking it easy for the most part.
I have something positive to say. I want to just do it just to shock Steve Terry. First of all, once again, welcome to Great Clips.
A great haircut is always a mood booster, but it's even better when it's convenient too. That's why I love online check-in at Great Clips. I just check in from my phone and get a ready next text when I'm up next. Plus, with the convenient hours at Great Clips salons, I can get a haircut even when I'm really busy. So if your hair and your mood could use a boost, download the app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
We're also want to let you know we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
When your furnace, air conditioner, or thermostat isn't working right, you need a local team you can trust. Whether your home won't heat up, won't cool down, or your air quality is a concern, your home comfort team at Aquarius Home Services finds the problem fast and fixes it right. And you get $98 off any furnace or AC repair when you book with Aquarius today. Aquarius Home Services. One call, problem solved. Earning the right to be recommended. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com.
And here's John for Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood.
If you are in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than our good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. If you want to go to the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, you have two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to lexusofwayzata.com or lexusofmaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today. I'm sure Kevin Garnett is thanking Charlie Swanson right now because he was sitting in Charlie's seat with his daughters last week when he showed up for the Pelicans game.
They asked me for mine. I
seat?
said, hell no. I said, absolutely not.
We're on the same page. Yes. All right. So, Finch is under fire, largely because fans immediately blame the head coach for any perceived lack of effort, even though in the NBA, I don't think the head coach can control that very much. I will say this. This might be a sweet spot for Chris Finch. He's had the last 2 first rounds. We have to remember that Phoenix looked really daunting and that the Lakers were, I think, 10 out of 10 ESPN panelists picked the Lakers to win the first round series last year. And Finch and his defense blitzed both of them, took them apart, and won those series evenly. Also, last time they played the Nuggets in the playoffs, it was the best series capped by the best game in franchise history. So if Chris Finch is ever going to show off, now might be the time.
Yeah, this is his time to shine. And we have seen the last 2 seasons when this coaching staff has a full week to prepare the players and drill down on points of emphasis and get them ready for what to expect in an opponent, they come out flying. And, I look at what he does in those situations, and the game plan is usually really tight. I think that he gets really a lot more focus from his guys, and attention to detail, in those meetings, film sessions, and then in practice to get ready to go. And I do think that these guys also just are a little bit more appropriately afraid, as Greg Popovich would say, about the possibility of losing. They never really kind of consider losing in the regular season. And so when they do, it's usually a surprise to them, and because they don't take it seriously enough. But Finch has got a track record now of doing this. I think that this series and these playoffs in particular will demand a lot more of him from a flexibility standpoint. I think we've seen in the last couple of seasons, he really hones in on his 8 guys in the rotation and sticks with them and keeps going with them. And he's been rewarded and validated for that. I think this year he's going to have to be able to adjust on the fly more, depending on what's happening on the court. Maybe it's a Terrence Shannon Jr. night. Maybe it's a Kyle Anderson night. Maybe it's a Bones Highland night. Maybe it's a Dante DiVincenzo night. There's just going to have to be mixes and matches. Maybe Rudy Gobert doesn't play down the stretch. Maybe he does. He's going to have to really be open to doing absolutely whatever it takes to win games and put any lineups out there and ride the feel of the game a lot more than kind of the more rigid rotations that he's had in these last playoffs. So he's got a lot on his plate, and he's going to need to come through here in this series if they're going to get the upset and win.
I'm very curious as to the playoff rotation, because we have a lot of injuries and different people have shown up, with Bones and TJ and Beranger. I mean, they show up and they do things that they're not supposed to do, but then the playoffs come and it just gets locked down. And and I mean, you get it. You want to stay with the main core, but part of our advantage is maybe to have some of the younger guys and a little further down the bench, and maybe they're a little bit fresher. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens. And also, I mean, you play the Nuggets, then maybe San Antonio, and then OKC. Holy mackerel!
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And if he makes the Western Conference Finals through that gauntlet, I certainly cements him. Although, as you had mentioned, there's a certain portion of the fan base that just, they always want what's shiny and new. And, hey, where's Micah Nori? He's the, he's got the great quotes, and Micah's a phenomenal dude. I mean, and obviously a great coach. I'm sure he'll be a head coach soon, but we should appreciate what we have in Finch. And especially if he still has the ears of the leaders, that is the most important thing in today's kind of NBA. If once you lose your leaders, then that you could be Doc Rivers. We can debate if he's a good coach or not, but you know what I'm saying. But once that's done, then see ya. So this is going to be a put up or shut up for this playoff to see what he does.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead, John.
100%. Sorry. When you look at the pressures on him, I am absolutely understanding of fans who do want to critique some of his job performance throughout this season and throughout the last 5 years. I mean, there are certain things that he has done, including maybe not quite giving the Shannons of the world and the Berengers of the world quite enough run in the regular season. Although Shannon was injured, Beranger is 19 years old. Some of the timeout usage, some of the other things that have happened are real critiques of the job that he's done, and that is okay and fully on board. I think that where I generally push back with fans is yes, you can critique them, and he needs to be better in some places, but the idea that you're firing a coach that's led the team to 2 Western Conference Finals, that every one of his players in that locker room have said for the last 2 years, when we do what the coaching staff tells us to do, things generally work out well. And so, I have probed and I have dug and I have tried to find out if there's any cracks in the veneer of the coaching staff, as there's doubts, whispered, underneath players' breath or mutterings and things like that. And I just have not sensed any of that. I mean, there's certainly little confrontations here and there and little disagreements, but it's never snowballed into anything more. And so I do believe at this point in his career, he deserves the benefit of the doubt in terms of getting this team ready to go. And if they lose 4-1, if it's not competitive, if he's messing things up, maybe that changes the tenor of the conversation a little bit, and maybe you look a little bit harder at it. But so far, what we have seen from him is that he prepares these guys and gets them ready to go right along on par with some of the best coaches in the league when it comes to first round of the playoffs and getting rolling with it. And so I think there's every reason to expect that will happen again.
I'm confused though, because like if it doesn't go well for Finch, how does Tim Connelly fire him when he's working for Dallas?
It's a great question, right? Yeah.
I think you just have a meeting. You have Ethan Casson and Tim Connelly get in a room with Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez. It'll all work out just fine.
Well, maybe Tim goes in there and gets rid of Jason Kidd and brings Finchy with him. Who knows?
There you go.
But yeah, I don't like that came up again this week. Our band, or Tim McMahon, the ESPN reporter, is very plugged in Dallas. Says that Tim Connelly is their primary target.
He should
try
be.
And get them. Yeah,
Dallas sucks, and they should go after Tim Connelly. I love Tim. I don't want him to go anywhere, but yeah, I mean, this is not a surprise.
No, not a surprise at all. Yep. Jim and I have talked about this as well. Like when you do the job the way that Tim Connelly has done it, when you have his reputation, you're going to have people that come after him. One very key element to mention to fans is that he is under contract for one more season, and so the Mavericks would have to get permission to speak with Tim Connelly about the job from the Timberwolves. And if they were to want to hire Tim Connelly, if Tim Connelly wanted to go, Dallas would have to provide some sort of compensation, maybe either draft pick or financial or otherwise.
Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Flagg. Yeah, why not? Yeah, maybe I would do that trade. Sorry, Tim, but I would do that trade. But as where it stands right now, I know that the Timberwolves want to sign Tim Connelly to an extension. I don't think that that there's an imminent threat of him just immediately leaving. I don't think that's the case. But if negotiations don't go well with the Timberwolves, if Dallas just throws an ungodly amount of money at him and they do have just gobs and gobs of it, could that change things? Maybe. But I think that I would be more concerned if I were Wolves fans, if it was somewhere closer to home for him in Washington, D.C., if it was out somewhere east somewhere. But, Dallas is an incredibly attractive job with Cooper Flagg, with a well-heeled ownership group that wants to build a new arena, just like the ownership group wants to build a new arena here. So we'll see how all that shakes out. But just a reminder that he is under contract, and it's not something where he can just up and leave, with willy-nilly without any kind of compensation or negotiations or anything like that.
Steve, tell us what's going on with your business.
Still lots of bad drivers out there. Shocking. It's
I've
insane.
noticed.
Yeah, it's scary out there. Yeah, I mean, snow melts, and now we got motorcycles and people on the lakes, and dogs out and about. Everyone's causing havoc, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, everyone knows that you're injured. Give us a call, 612 TSR time. It's branded on my arm. I took it off for the Super Bowl, but anyway, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous busy, and I guess it is what it is. Just try to be safe out there.
TSR Injury Law, 612 TSR time, 612 TSR time. And it always great thanks for helping us get this show started, Steve. Now, John, for True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington, go to truevision.com. Set up your free consultation to go in and get checked out. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you see that I do not have glasses on anymore. I have to update my avatar in social media, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I had LASIK surgery almost 2 years ago with True Vision, and it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. 2 years later, I still see completely clearly, no need for glasses, no need for contacts. I love that I did it this time of year when I'm traveling a lot for the playoffs, and you're in the shower in the hotel and you don't know which bottle is the conditioner and the shampoo because you can't see. Well, I can see it totally clearly. My life is so much easier with LASIK surgery from True Vision. So go to truevision.com, set up your free consultation, go in there, get checked out. They will run you through a thorough examination. They are the nicest people in the world, and they will help you get to the right vision correction methods for you. truevision.com in Bloomington.
So we were talking about the rotation. I mean, I just think we're going to see a 9-man rotation, period. But am I wrong, John? And I think if any of the distant bench players play, it's going to be Shannon in certain offensive situations. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I do think like 9 makes sense to me. And I do think that 9th spot has to be fluid and flexible. When you look at what a certain game is going to need, do they need defense? Do they need offense? Do they need energy because just kind of getting downhill? Do they need rebounding? Do they need steadiness? Like it's Mike Conley, it's Kyle Anderson, it's Terrence Shannon Jr. Mike Conley shooting the ball really, really well from 3 right now, by the way. And so there's going to be options that are available to Finch that I think he needs to consider more often than he has in any other playoff series. Like, I have understood the last 2 years why he said, these are my 8. These are who I trust. These are the guys who know when they're coming in and when they're coming out. That's going to be the best way to maximize. But I think with the way that Denver is playing, with how they can absolutely just run you out of the gym in a moment's notice if you're not on par, he has to really pay attention to how each individual player is playing, not just in this series, but in that game. If Dante DiVincenzo is struggling from 3, maybe it's an Ayo Dosunmu night. If it's, if Kyle Anderson is helping defensively, but is just being a liability from a shooting standpoint, offensively, maybe it's Terrence Shannon Jr. that night. If they're turning the ball over left and right, maybe it's a Mike Conley night. If Mike looks a little bit slow and is having trouble keeping up, maybe it's more of a Bones Highland night. And so he has real options, especially with the way that Terrence Shannon Jr. played down the stretch, to go to different looks, and he can go small, he can go big. And so you're going to see a lot of conversation within games between Finch and Mike Inori and Pablo Prigioni, Kevin Hansen, Nelson Turner, all these guys that are available to them, Chris Hines and Max Lefevre. Everyone in the coaching staff is going to be all in and trying to assess what is going right and what is going wrong in each individual game. And the need to be nimble is just going to be greater than ever. And so I'm fascinated to see how sort of disciplined he is in terms of following his own message. His first message to the team after their first practice this week was, it's time to check your egos at the door, sacrifice, and do whatever it takes for the team. And that is clearly laying the groundwork for, hey, if I've got to sit you down, I don't want to hear any grumbling. And if I'm asking you to play defense and not take as many shots, I don't want to hear any grumbling. Like, that's the message that he is conveying. And now he's going to have to walk the walk with the talk that he's talking.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. It just, sitting where I'm privileged to sit, you hear and see a lot of things. And there are certain players that when they come out of the game, even if they've had a great run, they're still pissy. It's like, I don't know how the coach, and I've heard things said to the coach where I'm like, you can't say that, and then you never hear about it again. Like, so coaches just, they take it and maybe they address it behind closed doors. But if you're going to have the attitude of this team where it's kind of nonchalant through the regular season, and now we're going to get serious in the playoffs that we just talked about, you do also need them then to buy in. And it's like, you can't be worried about your shots. You can't be worried about, this, that, and the other. Again, everyone got paid. Let's just do what's best for the team. I will say, I think this is going to be an interesting thing for Ayo. The fact that not to go back to Tim Conley, but that trade was so good that all the people in Chicago got fired. I mean, so that's how that one worked out. So
Yeah.
it's like, man, Tim is just out killing people. But with Io coming in, he's the obvious kind of replacement to Naw, and their games are very different, but yet it's kind of some similarities. And I know that a lot of the Wolves fandom also is still bitching about Naw being gone, as if we could afford. Like, well, you don't like Nas? I mean, which one did you want? Anyway, it's a different issue. But I think Io is going to be super important to this because he's anchoring the bench, and you're just going to see how he fits in.
It's a great point, Steve, and I think like that is something to revisit right now. And let's soberly look at what they have this year versus that series. Now, first of all, there is no question that the Wolves are going to miss Nickeil Alexander-Walker's defense in this series. He is a better defender than Ayo Dosunmu is, especially for Jamal Murray. And the way that Nickeil kind of navigates screens, the way that he doesn't sort of let other teams really kind of get to him and get into his body. I think that was a huge thing for what these guys really had so much success with defensively against the Nuggets in that first series. But what I also want to point out, and it is that in the reality of that Denver series, and really throughout a lot of the playoffs, Nickeil, from an offensive standpoint, was really unreliable. He hit some shots for sure every once in a while, but he had a lot of turnovers. He didn't shoot the ball overly well a lot. He just made a real impact with his defense. With Ayo, I think that he has the potential in this series to absolutely gash the Nuggets. He can get to the rim. They can't protect the rim. He gets out in transition. They really struggle in transition. He shoots the three really well. And he can space the floor. And so, he may not be exactly what Nickeil was defensively, and I know that Nickeil is having an amazing offensive season for Atlanta, but when he was in Minnesota, he was not giving them 15, 18 points a game. He was giving them like 7 or 8 points a game in the playoffs. Ayo's averaging almost 15 points a game since he came to Minnesota. And so if he can be a real factor, breaking the paint, getting to the rim, knocking down threes, that's, I think, their best chance to really compete in the series, because they are not as good defensively as they were that year when they were number one by a wide margin. I think there's going to be some games where they have to just outscore the Nuggets, which is a huge ask, given they're the number one offense in the NBA. And I think Ayo will really help with that regard.
And just think, he only cost us a first-round pick. I mean, that's amazing. Number 8 pick. I mean, we got Ayo. Here we go.
Number 8. Yeah, worthwhile.
All right. Let's thank, our last commercial break. Let's thank Princeton's Liquors.
Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove. Bill Princeton and the Princeton family have been in the liquor selling business for decades and decades. Go into the Maple Grove store. You will find an unbelievable selection of anything that you're looking for maybe a Timberwolves watch party. They have wine, they have beer, they have cocktails, they have THC seltzers and gummies. Their expertise comes in craft beer and in bourbon. So if you're looking for something unique to bring to a gathering to kind of wow your guests, they got you covered. If you're looking for something just more affordable, they have you covered as well. So go to Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove. Tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you. Say hi to Bill Princeton and the Princeton family. They've been there forever. They'll keep being there.
Can I just say something on that just real quick? I actually visited Princeton Liquors and bought some bourbon. And I do not get paid to say this. I have nothing to do with it. In fact, I'm paying to. It'll probably be on the show. So this is just honestly a little known fact. My wife got her eyes done at True Vision. That's a true story. Yeah, she got LASIK, loved it long before you guys were ever there. But they're great. And anyway, I was at Princeton Liquors and I was looking for some bourbon. And I did go up and I said, "Hey, did Jim and John say hello?" And the guy looked at me. He's like, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And he kind of looked at me like the zoo animal look where he's like, "I know you too." And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know me. Never mind." But yeah, I mean, it actually is a great place. They have a phenomenal selection. I don't drink a ton of bourbon, but I like kind of cool stuff. And they had a really nice selection of some eclectic choices. But anyway, so send me my check. Thank you.
There you go.
You got it. It's in the mail. Also, I want to say that I'm wearing out my sglambchops.com sweatpants. I may never wear real pants again.
sglambchops.com is the place to go for the most comfortable casual wear that you can find. Use the promo code JONK20 for 20% off anything you get at Lamb Chops. This is Lamb Chop season right now. Jordan and Craig and everyone over there, they're putting out just unbelievable stuff. It's stylish. You can wear it out in the North Loop on a Friday night. You can wear it to Target Center and fit in with like literally thousands of Wolves fans who have Lamb Chops gear on, or you can just chill at home while you're watching the game on TV and be completely comfortable. They have hoodies, they have sweatpants, they have sweaters that you can wear to work, as I have done with Lamb Chops. They have all sorts of, they have hats, they have whatever you want. Some of the best shorts that I've ever worn are Lamb Chop shorts. So go to sglambchops.com, promo code JONK20 for 20% off anything you get at Lamb Chops.
Do we have a Twitter question today for the end of the show, John?
We do at the end of the show, yes.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll get to that. Sponsored by sglambchops.com. All right, let's get into the matchup. Who and how will the Timberwolves end up forcing Jamal Murray to throw crap on the court? Who's going to be the catalyst to making Jamal Murray absolutely lose his mind?
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, the key to the whole series, guys, because they absolutely took Jamal Murray apart in the last series. And part of the reason for that, I believe, is that Murray was dealing with a calf injury. He was not fully healthy. He was a weakened opponent. And Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, they just hounded him into submission. That is not the Jamal Murray they're going to see in this series. He has been incredible all season long. He's had an all NBA caliber season. He is healthy. He is moving a lot better. He absolutely torched the Wolves in the regular season. And so how they go about attacking him and trying to at least keep him from going off for like 38 is going to be just one of the biggest keys to their chances to win. I think you'll see Jaden McDaniels on him a lot because they used to have Jaden McDaniels on Michael Porter Jr. and basically try to erase him from the series, which worked, and then had Nikhil or Ant or Mike Conley or a few others chasing Murray around. They don't have to worry about Michael Porter Jr. I know Cam Johnson is playing a lot better, but I think he's a different kind of player. And so I would expect to see Jaden McDaniels see a lot of time on Jamal Murray. I think you will see DiVincenzo get a crack at him. You'll see Anthony Edwards get a crack at him, DeSumo get a crack at him as well. And they'll just try to throw bodies at him and wear him down over what they hope is going to be a long series. But if he's able to just slice and dice and knock down open shots and run that two-man game with Jokic just freely and easily, the Wolves are going to be in trouble. And so they're going to have to find a way to make life difficult for him. And that's a big ask this season with how Jamal Murray's playing.
If only we had Chris Dunn.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. That's a double one.
Man.
We drafted Chris instead of Murray. And anyway, okay, sorry about that.
Too soon, Steve.
Too soon, yeah. Murray has been incredible. I will say this, though. Like, once I think he does have some softness about him. And he should have been kicked out of the game. You cannot be throwing stuff on the, anyway, that's a whole other thing. That was ridiculous. But you now do know you can get to him. Mm-hmm. And if you get into his body and beat him a little bit, maybe it starts to creep back in. And that's all you can hope for. They kind of takes me to a different deal as with Jaden. Why is he not being mentioned as clearly all defensive teams? Like, I don't get it. I mean, like, everyone, when you watch the games, you can see what's happening, but yet when they come out, like the multi-teams for all defensive, you don't even hear about them. It just seems weird to me. But anyway, I mean, you can answer that if you want, but Jaden is a unique specimen because of his length and his desire to play defense. And you put him on Murray, and then you got Gobert on Joker, and then we got something to talk about. But it'll be very interesting. I think you can break him. You just got to get up in his body.
Yeah, I think Jaden on that, it's a good point. If you talk to the Timberwolves, anyone who plays with him, they just believe that he's not only an all NBA defensive player, but he's a DPOY candidate. Like, that's how highly they think of him. I think one of the reasons that he has not gotten the shine this year kind of nationally is the Timberwolves defense has slipped a little bit from that number one with the bullet unit a couple of years ago. But when you look at what Jaden is required to do every single game, and it's not just guard on the ball, it's also move off the ball, it's also protect the rim. He just is as a versatile a defensive player as there is in the league. And I think that sometimes because he doesn't have necessarily a defined role, that he's doing so many different things, that maybe it gets overlooked a little bit or it's harder to recognize. But there's no question that he's had an amazing defensive season. And there's no question that if the Timberwolves are going to win this series, I think that this is going to be a Jaden McDaniels series if they do it. And it's not only going to be what he does defensively against Murray or against Johnson or against Christian Brown and Gordon and everyone. It is going to be that he is also having a very efficient offensive game and getting out in transition and scoring, breaking down weaker defenders off the dribble and getting to the basket for that mid-range pull-up that he has. The nugget for all of the angst and consternation about the Wolves not having an answer for Jokic, which they frankly they do not have.
Nobody does.
Nobody does, and the Nuggets don't have an answer for Anthony Edwards. And so if the Nuggets throw a bunch of attention at Edwards and try and get the ball out of his hands, McDaniels is going to have a weaker defender on him and is going to have opportunities to score and to have a big series. And so if he comes through like he has for a lot of this season, he's had a phenomenal offensive season as well. That is going to be a big pathway for the Wolves to have a chance to win this thing.
Wolves in 7.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
that's what I said. I don't know. I told someone the other day. I had a executive from another team call me and just say, "Hey, what do you think?" And I said, "This team is the most unpredictable in the playoff field, either side. I could absolutely see Nuggets in 5 or 6, and it's not really that competitive. I could see Wolves in 6 where they just like lock in and they wipe them out at Target Center in Game 6 and go forward. I could see Wolves in 7 because I've seen Wolves in 7. They've done it. And so the variance that is kind of in their game and in their ability is super high. And they have said all season long, we'll be fine when we get to the playoffs. We'll be fine when we get to the playoffs. Well, it's time for them to put up and shut up because they're in the playoffs now, and let's see them lock in. I'm slightly concerned about Ant's knee and Jaden's knee and Naz's shoulder and all of these things. I do think that's something to watch. I mean, similarly to how Jamal Murray was compromised in that series 2 years ago, I think that there's going to be a lot on Edwards in particular physically. When you hear Steph Curry talk about the same injury and how you can wake up one morning feeling great and then you can wake up the next morning and barely be able to walk, I think it's unpredictable with what we're going to see from Ant from a health standpoint. But if he can find a way to heal his body Wolverine style like he has so many times before, they 100% can win this series. They can beat San Antonio. They can give OKC all that they can handle, or they could lose right away in the first round. And this season the off season is starting a lot sooner than anyone wanted to.
It'd be nice if Nas can get his shoulder together. I was having dinner with him the other night. I'm just kidding.
Look at you.
I'm kidding. I'm completely joking. No, but on a serious note, like you can tell he was off. Like and you can tell how frustrated he was. And I know he's had a couple good games, and you just hope that rhythm's coming back. He's had a hell of a year, starting with obviously bad news, and then it's been an up and down year for him. But if he can get it together and get on a roll, then that really, really helps everything else. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'll a kind of stat to kind of look at, which it will be in The Athletic here this week. Nas Reed, Jaden McDaniels, and Anthony Edwards have played 113 more games together than any other active trio in the NBA. They have been through the wars together, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. When you think of the three of them in 2020, 2021, and they came into this league at the bottom of the Timberwolves experience, and to where those three have gotten this team, I just think you're going to see a lot of pride from the three of them, and and they're going to throw everything they have at Denver, and they're going to lean on that experience together and that connectivity that we haven't really seen all season, but they're gearing up for it. They have accomplished a lot with this team, and they're a prideful group. And so it will be really fun just to watch them go in and just slug it out with a really awesome Denver Nuggets team.
Let's get to our Twitter question, and we're going to wrap up the show with a final thought from Steve and from John. What is our Twitter question of the week, John?
Yeah, this one comes from Lars Stromberg. In previous years, the non-Jokic minutes were crucial in beating the Nuggets. With the replenished Denver bench, what should expectations be when Jokic is on the bench? And it's a great question, because I do think that these Nuggets are more prepared and more equipped to handle non-Jokic minutes than they have been ever before. And so I do think that one of the things that the Wolves really have to hone in on is maybe a similar scenario to what they've had with Jokic in the past, where if he has 45, you shake his hand and say, yes, you're doing it. But what they want to prevent is the 17 assists and getting Hardaway going from three, and getting Gordon going from three, and getting Cam Johnson going, and getting Bruce Brown going, and all of those kinds of elements that they have available to them. They have to try and keep the other role players from getting in a real rhythm. And this team has shown improvement since Kyle Anderson came aboard, of being able to be a team that can be a little bit more resistant defensively when Rudy is sitting. But they're going to have to be a lot more locked in defensively, especially when Rudy goes to the bench, because this Nuggets team is deep now. And when they get rolling, and when they're flying around and, drive and kick to open 3-point shooters, man, they are really difficult to deal with. And so they're going to have to hope that maybe Cam Johnson's a little nervous in these playoffs. Maybe, maybe Christian Brown's shot is not falling at all. Maybe Aaron Gordon kind of comes back down to earth as a 3-point shooter, and they're just going to have to contest. And when Jokic sits, they have to pounce. Like, they have to get out in transition. They have to score, and they have to win those minutes.
All right. Final thought, Steve Terry.
Yeah, I was watching the final game. First of all, FanDuel, it's been great. Goodbye. Okay, anyway.
A rough watch, yeah.
That was very emotional.
Yeah, it's just brutal. No, but what I was going to say is Jim Pete gave some flowers to Michael Grady in the final, and it's awesome. And Michael Grady is phenomenal human. I've gotten to know him just a very, very little bit, but just a great dude. And obviously his talent is now known, to the world, and probably not going to be hanging out in Target Center very much. But what I wanted to say was, let's not also forget Jim Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Dudes, he's so good at what he does, and he has been with a variety of people, and it's always good, and he's the common denominator. So I just want to give him his flowers to say, keep doing what you're doing. Please don't leave us. We love you. And just, he's just so phenomenal. And it's been interesting with him and Horton, kind of blending, and Al also is doing a phenomenal job. I don't know if people understand how hard it is to do a radio version and then switch to TV and go back, and like that is incredible. But Jim P, we love you, and don't ever leave us.
Good
It's a
stuff.
great
John,
point.
wrap up the show.
Yeah, it's a great point, Stephen. That one of the really unfortunate things is, in the past, the first round of the playoffs, you would have local broadcasts as well as the national. Now with this new agreement, it's only national, and so we love when Michael Grady's on the call. I think Kevin Harlan's going to be on the call on Saturday. So that'll be super cool, but missing out on the opportunities for Allen or Grady and Jim Pete to do it is just too bad. I wish that they still allowed the local guys to get that first round shine and give the fans that as well. My final thought is just like, I can't wait, man. Like, this is, would I have rather seen the Wolves play the Lakers in round one just for, to know that I was for sure covering 2 rounds of playoffs? Yes. I would have rather seen that. I think it's the better matchup for the Wolves. But in terms of like storytelling and in terms of theater, like, this is going to be awesome. The playoff rubber match. These guys have played 28 times in the last 4 or 5 years. I don't think that they particularly like each other. And I think that this has been an epic trilogy. And here we go with chapter 3. And watching to see if this Wolves team can find that switch to flip that they could not during the regular season. And if this has just become a team that is so experienced and so ready for the moment that they know when to turn it on, I'm just fascinated by it. So cannot wait for Saturday, 2:30, I think, local time, right? And 1:30 there to just get this thing going and see what happens. It's this is the most compelling matchup in the first round of the NBA playoffs for me, and I think it's going to live up to the billing.
LFG, baby.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Wonderful to be with you guys. Thank you so much for everything that both of you do, both of you have contributed to the network and the show. I really appreciate it. It's going to be, and I always hope for a long playoff run for selfish purposes. It's just fun to have these conversations and cover this team. So let's all hope we are talking about this for a long time to come. For Steve Terry and Jon Krasinski, I'm Jim Suhan. This is TalkNorth.com, and we'll talk to you next week.